Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on, I think it's July 24, 2025, on Thursday. And I can't wait to tell you what the local Fusion Center operatives, perpetrator neighbors, criminals did today, or what they have been doing with my landscaper. Unfortunately, this new lawn guy, he lied so badly that the kind of karma that he's going to generate for himself, just really bad. And you know, these skit shows, they repeat the same skit over and over and over and over again. And it's been going on literally for 6 years. You know, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but you know, they lie. And what are you going to do? Catch them in a lie while they're right there looking at you, lying to your face? So after the event with Tyler Allen, who we still can't locate, Tyler Allen, lawn guy, who damaged my property, who co-opted with the criminal neighbors to damage the property and then not provide me invoices or work here, etc. And still to this date, we can't locate him, but I will be filing a complaint on him. I just haven't had time. I can file a complaint on the lawn guys anytime, and I will be, particularly with this new guy. And his name is Ben. The new lawn guy is Ben. Now, when he was referred to me, I was told his last name was Brick. But I believe it's a Mackenzie, okay? At least that's the check that I made out to his father when he and his father, Kevin, were working here. So now this is the second week in a row this has happened, but this time was really off the charts. So at the beginning, let's start off. The beginning of last week, I text messaged Ben to ask him if he could cut on a particular day, not Thursday, Wednesday. And he said yes, after a couple of days of not hearing from him. And then he was a no-show on that day, so I texted him later in the afternoon. It was like 4 o'clock. Still a time when you could still cut here, because it stays bright and sunny like this literally all day. 4 o'clock is usually when a lot of people start cutting the grass anyway. I'm walking up the county road to show you the emblem, the sigil, the stakeout where these criminals hang out doing their bitchcraft rituals. But so anyway, this happened last week. So every other week, I have to cut everything, meaning my outer fields. And that's $340. Last year it was $320. This year it's $340, whatever. And then every other week, we cut my area here in the top of the hill. All flat, real easy to do, like so super easy. I used to do it before they destroyed my lawnmower. I used to do it every 5 days. And it would always look perfect. Until this year. So last week he didn't text me back right away. And then when I text him on Wednesday, he said, "Oh, I thought I messaged you that I can't come until tomorrow." So now just keep this in mind, tomorrow meaning Thursday. So I said, okay. He shows up, the grass is already wet because it had rained. The reason I wanted him Wednesday is because I knew rain was coming, and any good landscaper would check the weather before they're going to cut, right? But this guy is 17 years old. He claims he's been cutting for years with his father. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. So anyway, last week, he shows up and cuts. And he does not, the week before, he doesn't do any of the trimming in the outer field, which is part of the service that he's supposed to provide and that I paid for. So I literally paid him for something he didn't do. And the same thing with cutting along the county road here. Trimming, I should say, the weed eater. So I literally paid him for all the work that he didn't do. Now the second time, last week, he was required to cut what he didn't cut the week before. But he wanted more money for it. And you know what? I just gave it to him. I told him, I said, you were supposed to do it last week. Oh, and here you could see the deep ruts here. I don't know if you could see it. Somebody's hanging out here. The deep ruts here. There's absolutely no reason for anybody to be parked here on the county road. And here's the bitchcraft picking up here. I don't have my gloves, so I'm just swinging it. Because I was already here and picked all this up. And this is bitchcraft, by the way. This. I already cleaned all this up. But they come back and do it all over again. You see here? Look, and here's the X. Look. This is all bitchcraft. They're here every day, literally every day, spread. They don't want me to move. They're doing their power dances, their little rituals, but I am moving. I'm absolutely moving. And no, I'm not just going to be abandoning my property, which is what they're hoping that I do. And I'll be filing another complaint also. But anyway, see all this? I already cleaned all this up yesterday. I cleaned it all up yesterday, but here it is all again, right here. This is all bitchcraft. All this bitchcraft. The little crosses here, bitchcraft. All this. So let's get back to Ben McIntosh, or Ben Brick, whatever his name is. The company actually appears on Yelp, so I will make sure to give him a raving review on Yelp. So last week, he still didn't do a great job. He was acting very bizarre. He did the exact same thing today. Now see this? I picked all this up yesterday. This is, oh, look at how they blurred it. They just blurred it. They don't want you to see this. Look at that. Look at that. You see it? This is the Freemason. Half moon, circle, more bitchcraft. I picked all of this up yesterday. I cleaned everything yesterday. Everything. I haven't posted the video yet. The reason I haven't posted the video yet is because a neighbor that I met for the first time stopped along the county road to ask me some questions, and I responded to her. I don't really want her in the video, so I have to edit it. She may have been a perpetrator, may not have been. But this is the sigil. This is the stakeout right here. You see how they're blurring it? We do have a shadow, but it should look better than this. So here, we start here. The half moon. Got the half moon here. Then they divide it. They divided it here. And then here. And this is where they perform all their rituals. Right opposite my house. My house is right there. Right there. And this is where the explosion was. Well, no, the explosion came from over here. A little bit further to the right. So I will be posting that video. So here is the Freemason Loser Witch Club. This is where they hang out, and they've marked the property here to show that this is the targeted person. This is where they perform their bitchcraft. So let's get back to the landscaper, the lawn guy. So he did that last week, and here is another rut. And this is where I found an empty box of Marlboro Reds, a Marlboro Red cigarette butt, and a bottle of water, or a partial bottle of water, and a soda can when I was last here. Rut over here. So this is where they're hanging out here. This is a heavy vehicle. This is not just a car. Over here. And then over here. So you've got one vehicle hanging out over here, and then diagonally across, another vehicle hanging out there. This is where they stake out a 67-year-old woman. Is this pathetic? With your tax dollars? And yes, it is your tax dollars, everybody. My name is Lorraine. I'm a 67-year-old woman, educated. I have a master's degree in psychology, an undergraduate degree in psychology, abnormal, deviant, and violent psychology with a concentration in addictive behaviors. And I graduated both with honors in the Psych High Honor Society of Psychology. I'm also a certified clinical hypnotist. And I have 2 certifications in corporate human resources management, human resources. I had my own staffing business. I'm also a Reiki master teacher, and I was a notary public in New York and New Jersey. So anyway, yeah, so they have to stalk me with all these people with your tax dollars. So getting back to Ben, the lawn guy, who did not do what he was supposed to do. You can see here, nothing was trimmed here. It's all bushy. And you see all this stuff? This was planted by the criminals. This is not natural to my property. And they also plant this around all of my fire pits. So for any of you witches out there, tell me what it is. Tell me why they're doing it, yeah. Because they get, you know what they do? They hide their bitchcraft in here like this. And then it makes it look, appear as if it's not cared for because it's so tall. But it's not native to my property. It was planted here. Okay, so that's what happened last week. And he charged me like another $50 for that extra stuff that he actually didn't completely do. So I paid him $165, cashed the check. Finally gave me an invoice, but he never gave me an invoice for the week before. For paying him $340. Never gave me the invoice. So this week, I want to be on top of it. I text him. I actually left him a voice message first. I said, hey, I'd like to know what day of the week you're going to be here. Wednesday looks like a good day. Let me know. Didn't hear back from him. Text him. Hear back from him. Yeah, Wednesday looks good. I type back. Thank you. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, no show. Text him. Finally get a response back. He says, I thought I text you that I couldn't make it until tomorrow. Oh, bookmobile. I said, no, I didn't receive a text from you. No response back. He shows up at 9 o'clock this morning. 9. Now, we've already had long conversations about the nature of my property, how wet it is, the dew, the way the dew forms and stuff. And you can see what they're doing to my, what they're doing here with my partition. Now, obviously, I have photos of it before and after. So I actually had rock going up here when I moved here. And they have been throwing all this rock down in here. So he shows up at 9 this morning. He says, well, I thought that, he said, oh, I don't have my father with me. I'm going to do it myself. So he says, so I'll get to keep all the money. I said, oh, well, good for you. You'll get to keep all the money. So I said, you can't cut now. It's too wet. He said, well, I thought I'd weed eat. So he started to weed eat, and then it stopped. Didn't hear anything at all from him. Knocks on my door and says, you've probably heard that I'm not weed eating. I said, I've been doing other things. He said, I just heard that my sister got into a car accident and she died. I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Where did that happen? He said, well, they were driving from Richmond to Berea. And I've heard the same story before. Richmond to Berea. I said, oh, that's horrible. Was it a drunk driver? Blah, 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 blah. They don't know. That she was newly married just a couple of months ago, she had 2 kids. She already had 2 kids, and his brother was in the back seat of the car. And they were driving to pick up the mother. This is the story. This is how elaborate the story was. So elaborate. So I said, well, honestly, there's really nothing you can do about it. I said, right now it's a crime scene. If your sister has passed away, everybody is going to be transported to a local hospital. You're not going to be able to get there. It'll be blocked off. I'm sure it'll be in the news. And he quickly said, it probably won't be in the news. Now, that was another red flag. How would something so tragic, so early in the morning, not be on the news? And guess what? It wasn't. I checked via Siri. I checked via YouTube. I checked via news, Kentucky news, news, nothing. The last person that was tragically, fatally killed during that time was a year ago and then 6 years ago. I looked everywhere, nothing, nowhere. So I contacted somebody who referred this creepo to me. And the first thing he says is, he doesn't have a sister. I said, well, thank you so much for letting me know. I didn't think he had a sister. I mean, after the elaborate skit show, because I'll tell you that during this time, I had people driving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And obviously they had co-opted this kid. Not this time. This time they concocted the story. They did something else last time because he refused. He did not cut down past that pole where the gate is. My property is up until the gate. But neither Tyler Allen or this Ben Brick McIntosh cut it. So last week he sent me a text message of how he cut around the pole. But he still didn't cut down to the fence line. And I can see it from here. It's not cut. So he created this, or the fusion centers, the local people, concocted this ridiculous story so that I would feel sorry for him. And initially I did. You know, that's a horrible thing. But what I noticed is he was not emotional. He said, oh, I was crying in my truck. There was no sign that this guy had been crying. He didn't look like he was crying. His face, he was calm, cool as a cucumber. And then you could hear him in the background pretending to call his mother. He was probably speaking to one of these local criminals here who probably paid him for the day. So I find out that Ben does not have a sister, that he lied. That he's lied many times before, and you know what else he did? He lied about how much I paid him the last time, not the last time, the time before he was here. He told somebody else that I paid him over $700 to cut my outer field. Why would somebody lie like that? Is this a competition? Who would pay somebody $700 if they're not a corporation? I certainly can't pay somebody $700 to cut a field. I'll let the fucking thing grow. I'll let it grow, and get some horses to come here and eat for free. Or some goats. So this is all the stuff that they didn't cut. All the stuff here that they didn't cut here. I mean, the best landscaper that I had last year, and they were coerced to not work here anymore. Yes. They were the best the best landscapers I've had since living here. They were a couple, and his name was Clifton McKinney, and his wife. They were the best landscapers that I had, but they got scared. They've been threatened and coerced to not work here. It says something about their morality, doesn't it? It says something about them as people. I don't care if you have to live here. If you would do this to another human being, there's something inherently wrong with your moral compass. What about do unto others? And the reason is that this is organized crime. And by the way, men and women, boys and girls, when I filed my complaint, I didn't just file it for real estate property mobbing. I didn't only file it on the FOIA requests that were removed from the internet, which is literally against the law. I didn't only file it against my neighbors being coerced to not give me a veterinary appointment through Rebecca Caleb Wilson. And yes, of course, she was named. I didn't only file the complaint against the vandalism, of which I reported to the sheriff's department, who never investigated, or the dead animals or the dildo that was in my mailbox. And yes, I did use those words and provided the documentation. But I mostly filed on behalf of public corruption. And who are those public officials that are corrupt? The sheriff's department, the county lawyer, the local judge executive, with proof, evidence of the survey marker being disrupted, the stonewalling, the property mobbing, the interference with services, just like this one today with Ben McIntosh or Brick, whatever his name is. It says McIntosh, Ben McIntosh Lawn Services on Yelp. So he will be receiving a rave review from me at some point, including reporting him also to the Attorney General, because I've got a list. So we've got to redo Tyler Allen, the veterinarian, and now this little fucker. Now, for all you spiritual people out there, I mean, it's one thing to co-op with somebody about not wanting to cut somebody's property. He could have told me that on Monday. He didn't have to go along with the skit show to play let's pretend I'm going to cut your grass. Let's pretend I'm going to do it on Wednesday. Let's pretend I sent you text messages. Let's pretend I'm going to give you an invoice. He didn't have to go along with all of that, but he did. And yeah, he's 17 years old. Or he claims to be 17. It tells you what kind of upbringing this piece of little crap has. Because I'll tell you, when my daughter was 17, she would have never done anything like that. I raised my daughter with a moral compass. Most of the people around here don't have one. So he went along with the skit show. He could have told me on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can't cut your grass. Find another guy. He could have done that. But instead, he unexpectedly shows up at 9 a.m., knowing full well he can't cut the grass because it's too wet. Starts weed eating and stops after about 15, 20 minutes. While he's cutting on the county road here a little bit, the skit show, cars driving back and forth like it was a traffic jam. And then he stops and tells me this elaborate fake story that his sister, his imaginary sister, the sister that he doesn't have, age 20, a mother of 2 children, newly married a couple of months ago, elaborate story. Husband was driving the car. His brother was in the back seat. Car accident, she dies upon impact. Dies upon impact. Christian Appalachian Project. Nice new blue car they got there. Cobalt blue car. Talk about criminals. I'm sorry for all you Christians out there. There are some good ones and some frauds. I've got a whole bunch of frauds right down the block here. They're involved in stalking, harassment. They participate. They participate in the slander. They participate in the stalking. And also, that place, it costs them more money to maintain the outside of that building than they bring in financially. I don't know how they get their money. People just give them donations. I don't know what they do. They've got a camp there, like 2 months out of the year. And that's it. I don't know what the hell they do. I've tried to find what they do online. You can't find it. Can't find it. Christian Appalachian Project for all you sleuths out there. They're located here in Jackson County, Kentucky. But I believe they have a main office, maybe in Louisville or Lexington or somewhere else in Kentucky. Do a little research on them. You won't find much. I don't know what the hell they do. So getting back to the lawn guy. So now this was such an elaborate false story that this guy created such negative karma for himself that he says his fake sister, his imaginary sister, is in an auto accident and dies upon impact, leaving behind 2 kids, a husband, his brother in the back seat of the vehicle. And then when I mention, it should be on the news, I'm sure I'll find it on the news. He got a little scared there for a minute. You can see the hesitation in his voice. He said, I don't think it'll be on the news. I don't know if he used those words, those exact words, but it raised a red flag. Something that tragic would obviously be on the news in little Kentucky, these little areas in Kentucky. That's huge news. But he knew that he was lying to me. It was at that point I realized he was lying. Another point I realized he was lying was, I said, well, listen, there's really nothing that you can do right now. You decide what you want to do. You can either cut, you're here already. There's nothing you can do. They're not going to let you at the crime scene. Now, I'm going along with this, right? They're not going to allow you at the crime scene. You'll have to find out where the hospital is and maybe go to the hospital. But that won't be for a while. They're not going to let you in anyway. So what do you want to do? He goes back. He said, oh, well, let me call my mother. Let me call my mother, he says. And meanwhile, his father didn't come with him this week. His father said he was going to give me his phone number last week, but he never did. And when I asked Ben for it through email, because I finally received one invoice just from last week, he never responded to me with his father's phone number. He was just so happy that he was going to get all the money today for what he cut. So this is another way I knew is that I went into the Katz building while he's allegedly talking to his mother on the phone. He knocks on the door. He said, well, I wasn't going to come in. And I'm thinking, you shouldn't come in somebody's building. I'm thinking to myself. He says, well, I don't think I'm going to cut today. I'll be back tomorrow. I said, it's your choice. You're here already. You can get some of it done, so you don't have to do it all tomorrow. And I said, and what if tomorrow you have a funeral to go to or something else? So he turns to me angrily and says, my sister just died. I kid you not. I said, I know, I'm sorry for your loss. That's what I said. I'm sorry for your loss. Playing the game with him. So then my intuition tells me he's full of shit. And so I call this person who knows him, who says flat out he doesn't have a sister. Flat out, he does not have a sister. Right? Doesn't have a sister. The person says, I don't know why he did what he did. And I explained to this person that this is called real estate property mobbing. My neighbors and local people, the local county officials are all involved in trying to steal my land, keep me off my land, make it appear as if I'm not caring for it by vandalizing it. And I pointed out to him on the phone, I said, do you see what my driveway looks like? They actually seeded my driveway. They seeded my driveway with grass seed to sabotage it. It's called property mobbing. They're trying to force me off my property or reduce the value and send somebody in to buy it from me. I said, it's not going to work. I said, so this is the deal here. I know what's going on. I've been dealing with this for 6 years. I also told this person that I filed a federal complaint yesterday. I didn't have to tell them that, but I want people to know what's going on here. I mean business, and I don't care what these fuckers do. They can do whatever they're going to do, and they're going to. I'm not going to keep quiet, and neither should you. We need to make these crimes. We need to tell people, speak it to the roofs about these crimes, these property crimes. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing when I'm interviewed on Sunday. And for everybody that's listening, I will have the live stream. I'm probably going to cut it short, and I apologize for that. One, Facebook has a new algorithm for live streams because they really don't know what to do with it. Because there's too much conversation about multiple different topics. They have no way to properly monetize it and link it to long-term content. And it's usually 2 or 3 hours. Almost every one of my live streams, somebody reports it to not be monetized, and I have to have it reviewed, and 2 days later it'll come back that it's monetized. So I've lost all that viewing time, even if it's just a few dollars, but it's a lot of my time that I could be spending doing different things. And on Sunday I will have an interview about this property mobbing and the bomb explosion on my property, and that will be at least an hour long. And I'm sure the interviewer, who I won't mention right now, will provide me a link, and I'll be able to upload it to my channel as well as his. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I just wanted to shout out to the people out there that own property, that this is what they do to sabotage people working for you. They co-opt them, they slander you, they try to control the narrative. But I am never going to shut up from exposing these criminals. This just puts me back a little bit of a way. But I will be filing more complaints, and I will be giving him a unique shout out on Yelp. So let him go. He will not be getting any business after my review. I promise. He will not be getting any more business. And I'll also be leaving somebody else that was supposed to give me a quote. That was a no-show, no-call. So I will be reporting all of these people. It may take me a little bit of time. I've got a lot of animals to take care of. I've got a lot of coops to clean up, cats to care for, a house, a tiny house. I'm trying to clean it out. And I've got no help here. So I appreciate everybody for listening and your feedback and stuff. Please leave a comment down below if you've had people work for you who's been sabotaged. That there's a narrative going on behind your back to prevent you from doing what you need to do. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to say it, I will be moving this year. I don't care how it happens. I will be moving this year. And these losers, they're so afraid of my moving because their game is over. The game that they've been playing here will be completely over. Yes, I'll still be targeted, and yes, and all those things, but their game, what they're doing here, they will not get away with wherever else I move. They will not get away with exploding bombs on my property, letting dogs run wild. And if I see any one of these familiar faces wherever it is that I move, I will make sure to file stalking charges ASAP. What do you think, Zoomy? Think that's the plan? Is that the plan? That's what we're going to do. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. That's my rant for now. Leave a comment down below if this has happened to you. And I will talk to you guys later.